Hi everyone, how was my last tutorial about the German grammar cases and the new dative case that I introduced to you in my previous tutorial? Do write the comments in the comment section. Now in this tutorial, I am going to cover an important and practical topic about the means of transport in the German language. The means of transport in German is die Verkehrsmittel. So let's have a look. Now, the means of transport, which is a compound noun in the German language made up of two nouns, is made up of der Verkehr, which is the transport but also the traffic, and the word das Mittel, which is the means or the method. So the means of transport becomes das Verkehrsmittel. Now I have mentioned in my previous tutorials that when the German nouns are combined, then the article of the compound noun will be the article of the last noun in the compound noun. So that is why the article for the compound noun becomes das Verkehrsmittel. In plural, it becomes die Verkehrsmittel. So the noun does not change in its form. It remains like this. So public transport means, so referring to many means of transportation, and öffentlich is public. So public transport means, for which we have die Straßenbahn. This is the street train or the street tram that you see in some countries. And the way to remember again a compound noun is by looking at the individual nouns. Die Straße is the street. If it gets an N at the end, die Straßen, it becomes the streets. And die Bahn is the railway or the train. Then we have another öffentliche Verkehrsmittel, which is die U-Bahn. Underground train is shortened to U-Bahn, but it is also called in its original form die Untergrundbahn. Der Untergrund, which is the underground, and Die Bahn, which is the train or the railway. So it becomes Die Untergrundbahn. Then there is another Die S-Bahn. Now, Die S-Bahn is the shortened form of Die Stadtschnellbahn. Again a compound noun and a longer noun which can be remembered like this. Now usually compound nouns are made up of nouns combined, but I have mentioned in my previous tutorials that sometimes a compound noun can be made up of a noun and a form of a verb or even adjective. So in this case, Die Stadt is the city, Schnell is an adjective which means fast, and Die Bahn, which is the train. So any express city train is Die Stadtschnellbahn. Although Die Bahn can be used to mean the railway or the train, but Die Bahn also means the whole system of railways, but Der Zug means only the train. So it will refer to the train only and not to the whole system of railways. And Der Zug is also more frequently used to mean the train that is used by people to travel between countries usually. Then the bus is der Bus. The truck, and usually the truck which is a big and a long truck, is called der Lastkraftwagen or LKW in short. So this type of truck is used to transport goods, as you have seen on highways usually. And this is a big compound noun, again, which can be remembered by looking at the individual nouns. Die Last is the weight or the load which the truck carries. Die Kraft is the strength or the power, and der Wagen is the vehicle. So think of the Lastkraftwagen as the vehicle that has the strength to carry a lot of load. Then we have Die Fähre, which is referred to the ferry, bigger than the boat but smaller than the ship. and which carries people and sometimes also cars, depending on the size. Then the ship is das Schiff. The taxi is das Taxi. So this word has been taken from the English language and written like this in German but pronounced Taxi. Then the plane is das Flugzeug. Now again this word interestingly is, even though it's a short word, but it is a compound noun made up of der Flug, which is the flight, and das Zeug, which is the stuff. So any stuff with which you can have a flight or with which you can fly would be the aeroplane. Then we come to private Verkehrsmittel, that is private means of transport, in which there is das Fahrrad. Again, this short noun is or can be considered a compound noun made up of a verb, this time fahren, which is to drive, but fahren is used in German also to mean to ride a bicycle. And from this verb, this part has been taken, and the noun Rad, das Rad, is the wheel. And we know that bicycles have wheels. Similar to Fahrrad is das Motorrad, so the cycle that uses the motor. Then we have what is called the mobile van, which is used for camping and other purposes, which is called das Wohnmobil. So let's have a look at this compound noun. Wohnen is a verb which I have mentioned in one of my YouTube short also, which means to live. And mobile is anything that is mobile or moving, as we say in English. From this comes the noun das Wohnmobil. So part of the verb is taken and this adjective moving vehicle in which you can live also becomes das Wohnmobil. And then we have the boat. Now interestingly, the boat is in German das Boot, but this word we have in English. So the English word boot has nothing to do with the German word boat. So that was all for today. Do stay updated for part 2 of this tutorial, in which I mention some verbs which are related to describing the means of transport. Thank you.